culture consists of a society's framework of knowledge and beliefs, the content of its books and mass media, its technology, the determination of how social roles are to be fulfilled, which behaviors are normal and which unacceptable, and which are its morals and value systems. It is culture which ranks the importance of families versus individuals, of industriousness versus leisure. Culture is the way of life of a people. A community's ideology is part of its overall culture and is often inferred rather than seen. Culture tells its possessor what is important. Jenkins, 2003, pages 15 to 16.
Culture evolves naturally from interactions between people that develop into patterns of existence. It is affected by the land, the climate, available resources, the imagination, language, and technological inventiveness of people. It becomes the accepted way of existence, and as such is a social construct based on circumstance. Some people have more power than others, more confidence, more information, more access to resources, more hubris, more social privilege, greater capacity for using brute force, and so more influence over cultural norms.
At the turn of the 20th century, the technological advancements of the Industrial Revolution made possible the rise of a merchant class of entrepreneurs. Monarchies and empires succumbed to the promise of opportunity for all and the increasing power and influence of wealthy business moguls who took the opportunity to take the power for themselves. The industrial engine that drove the rise of the global economy was powered by the colonization of distant lands with their wealth of resources. It was bolstered by the burden of labor that worked for their share of that wealth. It was motivated by the free market system of capitalism that promised everyone a piece of the big global pie. Even the tenets of communism promised a share of the wealth to the workers, but that wealth had to come from their bosses. The people purchasing power.
The price which society pays for the law of competition, like the price it pays for cheap comforts and luxuries, is also great. But the advantages of this law are also greater still. For it is to this law that we owe our wonderful material development. While the law may be sometimes hard for the individual, it ensures the survival of the fittest. We accept and welcome, therefore, great inequality of environment, the concentration of business, industrial and commercial, in the hands of a few, and the law of competition between these as not only beneficial but essential for the future progress of the race. The capitalist ideology constructs a society in which people, places, products, and perceptions gain profit potential. The culture constructed on the scaffold of industrialism, capitalism, and democracy is a culture of acquisition in which the hands of the few compete for ownership control of all the resources, including human resources. Those with money have access to power and influence, which creates a great inequality between them and all other individuals who struggle for their rights to the promise, their piece of the great social dream to compete with the hands of the few. Desire for a system of free public education grew out of the need for a labor force able to fulfill the requirements of increasingly complicated technological work. They needed to be efficient in producing products and services to meet the growing demand, promoted through expositions, advertisements, and media images of people living the good life. People also wanted an education because without it, they could not compete in the fast-changing world. There was the move from a society centered on farming to the urban centers of industrial progress, the need to know more about science and economics, and the growing dominance of the machine as the bulwark of labor. People couldn't compete their share of the new wealth without education.